Robservations with Meyer Burnett.
Now let's go on to Colin's letter. And Colin says, "Hi, Rob. Hope you're doing well. I like it when you talk about filmmaking and movie sets. I've never been on a movie set, so I find your stories insightful. Related to that, what do you think makes a good director? Here are a few of my ideas. A good director understands their story. They can see its shape. If it were a book, they could talk at length about each chapter and how it connects. Totally agree with that. It's a benefit if a director is comfortable addressing a room. A director's job is communication. Sometimes this will resemble public speaking. Absolutely, 100%. A good director understands tension and release, pacing, the importance of character relationships. I could go on, but I want to know what you think. What personality traits are favorable? What stories do you have to tell? Thanks." And that comes from Colin. Colin, that is a great question. Now, again, I can only offer you my opinion. I have directed a few things myself. So here's what I think that a good director has to have. First of all, the things that you explained are all true. A director must understand the story, inside out, three-dimensionally, everything about the story, or at least their version of what they particularly think the story is about. Because after all, a director might have also been the writer and written his own story or her own story or their own story, might have written these stories. So obviously, as the originator of the story, they understand the story. But frequently, some of my favorite directors, like Stanley Kubrick, they adapted literary work. Sometimes Kubrick worked with the actual author of the book, like Nabokov and Lolita. So you've got the actual guy that came up with the story dealing with the filmmaker who wanted to make that guy's story, and they're working together. Same was true of Arthur C. Clarke. They collaborated. The book 2001 came out after the movie had come out, but Kubrick developed the story with Clarke, which was originally inspired by a short story he wrote called The Sentinel. So I think it's very important that a director completely understands the story they want to tell from every angle. And sometimes directors are contemplative of these stories for years before they decide to make them into movies, which is a big deal. But I also think, like you said, directors also have to be politicians. They have to be psychiatrists. They have to have many different skill sets in dealing with human beings, because making movies is all social. I mean, maybe you can get away from being Terrence Malick and being quiet and all that, but for the most part, being a director is there's a certain, well, there's even an air of being a general. You are leading a group of people to complete an objective, and the objective is to make the best movie possible. And basically what you're doing is every single day. Now, when you're in production, this is not during pre-production or post-production, but when you're in production, you are leading a team of people, and basically every day you're storming the beach at Normandy. You're going after a villain, and that villain is time. So you could be the greatest storyteller in the world, but you only have a finite amount of time and a finite amount of money. And so it's a battle. When you're in production, it's a battle. You're really a director as a general leading their troops to battle, and your troops are very loyal. I mean, you can't find more loyal people than your own film crew. So a director has all of these people at his disposal that want to do nothing more than please the director. So the director also has to be a great statistician, has to understand how do you employ these people properly. You've got a great team of a multidisciplinary, I mean, you've got every walk of life on a movie set. You've got analytical thinkers. Your script supervisor is making sure that every shot, there's continuity there. You've got your line producer and your producing team that makes sure that you have enough materials and manpower or woman power or people power to get what you want done. You've got the artist and the cinematographer who's literally painting with light, and his whole crew knows how to support him or her, and it's a thing to behold. So a director has to know how to utilize all of those people, the hair and makeup people, your art department. And all of these people are bringing flourishes to, and the director, more than anything, the director has to understand that how everything in the frame that you see, whether it's an actor, whether it's a set piece, whether it's the color of the lighting. The director must understand that everything that everybody else has worked hard to achieve, which is what the camera sees, because that's all that matters. What's in that proscenium, what's normally a proscenium is a stage, but if you think about every shot as being a proscenium, and you're looking in, every single shot has to be as perfect as it can be for the director to move on, to tell the story effectively. You can't have some of it, you can't fall down in any one of those respects. And it's really only the director, and the director who has a strong vision. This is why it is incredibly important when you're on a movie set where the producer's stepping in and getting in the way, or other people are trying to talk to the actors about what should be in the shot. If you have a director that's allowing that to occur, or someone's trying to ride roughshod over him or her or they, you're in real trouble. And so a great director also has to be able to assert themselves and fight for that vision. And they have to know what's up. They have to know what's up. They have to know, because they're the only person on the set, the only person that understands that whatever's in that frame that you're about to roll digital capture devices on, or actually film, if you're like Quentin Tarantino or Christopher Nolan, if you're going to start burning film, the director has to know that whatever the camera sees is what should be shot. And in addition to everything else that you mentioned. But it's a great question. Really, really, really like that.